Language Files 12, Chapter 15, Writing Systems by Grace Taylor, Brandy Moran, Asante Zepeda, and Alyssa Thacker. Writing is defined as the use of graphic marks to represent specific linguistic utterances. Writing is not language, but it is connected to language. While writing is not the only form of communication, it is a powerful tool for communicating sounds and meanings. Graphs, or graphemes, are the basic elements of writing. Unlike speaking, writing is not automatically learned. It must be taught. Writing has had a profound impact on human culture. Writing systems are largely arbitrary, just like spoken language. Serbian and Croatian are very closely related, but Serbian uses the Cyrillic language, while Croatian uses the Roman alphabet. Different writing systems can be used for any language. Writing systems can function as dialects or identity markers. It is important to identify the purpose and audience for a particular writing system. Groups often use unique abbreviations for phrases, names, and in-group activities. Writing systems also vary across cultures. For example, English is left to right, starting from the top left. Arabic is right to left, starting from the top left. Chinese is left to right, starting from the top right. Additionally, writing systems include structural details such as spacing between words, punctuation, and capital letters. John Mouton divides writing systems into 5 classes: pedographies, technographies, shorthands, cryptographies, and orthographies. Vast majority of writing systems fall under the category of orthographies. These are the most elaborate, the most versatile, and the most numerous. Many languages have multiple orthographies used by different people in different contexts. Pedographies are designed for learners and are sometimes used as a stepping stone to a language's standard orthography. Technographies are scientific tools made and used by specialized fields. These are used for chemical notation, computer coding, and cartography. Shorthands are designed to be written fast enough to be able to record speech verbatim. They were used in inscriptions in ancient Greece. Cryptographies are codes designed to conceal information. They are mainly used in diplomatic and military communications. Writing has had a great impact on human culture. The effects have been both positive and negative. One advantage of writing is that it gives the writer the ability to change what is written before it is shown. Another positive aspect of writing is that it can aid in memory, and it can also be used to keep records. Plato records some complaints about writing, which he views as a manufactured product. Plato believes that writing diminishes memory, and he views writing as inferior to speech. Another negative aspect of writing is that it is impossible to ask text for a better understanding, whereas a person may be asked to clarify the meaning of their speech. Social and cultural contexts may dictate writing. For example, the people of the northwestern Scotland speak Scots Gaelic, but write English. Arabic has different speaking dialects rather than written Arabic, and English has many forms of spoken language that differ from the written form. Digital communication has created a new field. Previous written communications were asynchronous, meaning that they were not real time. However, new forms of digital communication, such as instant messaging, are much more synchronous, meaning that both sides of the conversation occur simultaneously. Computer-mediated communication includes blogs, social media websites, and texts. This form of the communication displays properties of both writing and speech. There are at least 3 ways a writing system may approach a language it represents: meaning side, sound side, or both. To illustrate the word box, pronounced backs in English, only represents sounds of the letters. The word box can be used as if it was a container or in the context of punching someone with their fists. In Mandarin Chinese, the word box is pronounced like this, represents in the sound and meaning. The top portion of this means box, and the bottom portion of this symbol means container. Mandarin Chinese is an example of morphographic writing system because it relies on sound and meaning when pronouncing a word. Morphographic writing systems rely predominantly on a correspondence between a written grapheme and a particular morpheme. These symbols themselves may not tell the reader anything about the pronunciation. Morphographic writing systems are sometimes thought to use symbols stylized by pictograms that do not convey any information about the sound of the word. However, a large number of morphographs represent sound and meaning. Morphographic writing systems often contain many more graphemes than phonographic writing systems. An example of the morphographic writing system is early Chinese, as shown here. Rebus principle refers to borrowing a symbol only for the phonetic value that it encodes. For example, a photograph of a human eye, here, placed beside a photograph of an ocean, here, evokes the meaning I see rather than I see. Phonographic writing systems are more heavily weighted toward the sound-based end of the continuum. These systems do not include a 2-1 correspondence between graphemes and sounds, but rely heavily on knowledge of morphemes. They can represent the sounds of a language in various ways. For example, graphemes can represent syllables or individual sounds. Syllabic writing symbols use characters to represent particular sequences of sounds. Each character is usually a syllable, hence the name syllabic writing systems. The total set of characters is referred to in these systems as syllabary. Phonemic writing systems use characters to represent individual sounds or segments. Letters represent phonemes and can further be divided into alphabets, abjads, and abagudas. Alphabets are a type of phonemic writing system that represent all sounds, including both consonants and vowels. The most familiar in the Roman Latin alphabet, which is responsible for English, Swahili, Finnish, and Turkish. Each of these languages uses a slightly different version of the Roman alphabet. The Roman alphabet is a variant of an early Greek alphabet, which later became known as the Cyrillic alphabet. Abjads are a type of phonemic writing system that represent only consonants and not vowels. Hebrew and Arabic are well-known examples. Speakers' knowledge of these languages allows them to fill in vowels based on context. Both Hebrew and Arabic use diacritics to avoid ambiguity by making the pronunciation more explicit. Abagudas are a type of phonemic writing system that represents consonants with full graphemes and vowels with diacritics and on consonants. Examples include Indo-Aryan languages spoken in South Asia using scripts descending from ancient Brahmi script, Devanagari, Gujarati, and Bengali. In these systems, all consonant graphemes automatically have a following vowel sound unless another vowel is being used. Writing can be developed and invented as a completely new phenomenon. The earliest writing system was developed by the Sumerians about 5,000 years ago. Chinese and the Maya invented writing systems without knowledge of other existing writing systems. A new script can be created for a language, and this usually occurs when a language does not already have a writing system. New writing systems have been created for the Cherokee language and for other Native American languages. People construct languages and create new orthographies for their created languages. A writing system can be borrowed for one language or culture to another. Asian cultures have borrowed the Chinese writing and adapted it. Modern languages use some version of the Roman alphabet. Although borrowing writing systems is quite common, very few languages use completely identical writing systems. Pictograms are stylized drawings of concrete objects and are usually iconic. They are technically not writing because they do not represent language, but rather they are visual representations of objects as shown here. Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs were used to refer to activities or concepts that were not directly picturable. They were used as morphograms because they represented all types of words, abstract nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc., as well as concrete nouns. Symbols began to represent sequences of sounds or syllables rather than whole words, abstracting away from the meaning that these symbols originally represented. Eventually, the hieroglyphic character for owl came to indicate the sound. Semantic tribes living in Sinai developed a system of writing based on the Egyptian usage of symbols to represent the first sound in the phonological form of the word represented by the character. The Greek alphabet refers to the whole list of symbols by the Greek versions of the names of the first two symbols in the list, alpha and beta, which is the source of the term alphabet. The Greek alphabet was adapted by the Romans, and the Roman alphabet was brought to England in the early Middle Ages. Nearly all of the alphabetic writing systems of the world can be traced directly or indirectly to the writing system of the Phoenicians. There have been many attempts to change or reform English orthography to make it more closely phonographic system. Opponents of graphic system say that a more phonographic system would be easier for children and immigrants to learn to read. Opponents of spelling reform point out that the current spelling system shows morphological relationships that would be lost if the writing system was based only on sound. All phonographic writing systems are direct descendants of a particular morphographic system. Sequoyah designed a new writing system for the Cherokee using syllabary instead of an alphabet. Sequoyah is generally believed to have been illiterate in English and certainly did not attach the same sound correspondence to that English speakers do. Between 400 CE and the 1820s, nobody was able to read Egyptian hieroglyphics. Eventually, they were deciphered by Jean-François Champollion, whose understanding of hieroglyphics came from the fact that he had access to the Rosetta Stone. Champollion's success can also be attributed to his guess that the ancient Egyptian language of the hieroglyphics was closely related to Coptic. Michael Ventris deciphered a writing system called Linear B, which is a script found on clay tablets from a Minoan palace. There are still scripts and writing systems that have resisted decipherment. A decipherment has been claimed in the case of the Easter Island script called Rongorongo, but not everyone believes that it is correct. Deciphering languages is a fascinating blend of linguistics, history, and archaeology.